Hello, Broome Street Academy. How are you guys doing? It's been a while. I believe that I was with you around this time last year, maybe a little bit earlier. My name is Mr. Phelps, if you don't remember, and I was asked by Ms. K through email to participate in the Anti-Oppression, Anti-Bullying Assembly, and it is my honor to do so by sharing my own personal experience with you. So let me just jump right into it. I don't want this to be too long. So from 3rd grade through 12th grade, so that's elementary school, middle school, and then high school as well, I was bullied. I was the one who endured the abuse, who endured the brutality of bullying. I was never the one who bullied others. It's just not me. I don't believe in that kind of violence or abuse or harming others. It's just not who I am. And let me share with you some of the more painful highlights so that you know what I experienced. And then I can tell you the aftermath. I can tell you what happened after all that. How has it affected me? Let me divide these particular experiences into verbal abuse and physical abuse. I'll begin with verbal abuse. It's a lot simpler. So there were a number of slurs, there were a number of names that I was called at throughout grade school. I'm talking nearly every single day. And for a child's ego, for a child's sense of self, that could be pretty painful. By the time it gets to middle school, it felt even worse. By the time it got to high school, it felt terrible. I was depressed. I had thoughts of suicide. It was a really bad situation. And one of those words that just kept popping up nearly every single day from the bullies was faggot. They would also call me fag or homo or other variations of homophobia. And there were other names that they'd call me, but faggot was definitely one of the most popular among them and the one that was most used. Today, I still have a problem with that word because of those experiences. I have a problem with all hate speech, with all hateful language, but with that word in particular, it hurts because it was used with so much hatred, so much anger towards me for no reason. I do not know why. I was also really physically abused, and you name it, I experienced it. I got beat up, I got slapped around, I got punched anywhere and everywhere around my body, in the face, in the chest, in the stomach, in the groin, everywhere. I was kicked, I was tripped, I was thrown into lockers so hard once in 7th grade that I couldn't breathe. I had that kind of pain where you don't make any noise, you just like that. And where I come from, it's very snowy. For a big part of the year, there's a lot of snow. One time in 11th grade, this kid, he went outside, packed a snowball, came back into the high school, and threw it across the hall at the back of my head. Now, this thing was pretty icy. This thing was really hardly packed, and it hurt a lot. It was pretty terrible. So, those are a few of the experiences I had. And you might be asking yourself, all right, well, how did I respond then? And the fact is, I really didn't. My parents told me that I should try to ignore it as best I could, that I would be more mature, I would be more dignified, I would be the better man for walking away and not involving myself, not fighting back or anything like that. And I believed it. And now, in reflection, it was true. At the time, though, that just meant that I would be putting up with it the very next day, and the day after that, and the day after that. And I was actually really disappointed, reflecting on it now, that no teacher ever really intervened. There was one, my English teacher, Mr. Kerr, in 7th grade, who opened up his door, and I was lying there on the ground after getting beat up, and he tried to help me out, and he called home. He called my mother about it. But other than that one time, that was it. They did not care. So the fact that this assembly is going on is marvelous. You should thank Ms. K and whoever else is in charge of putting this on, because it's good to discuss these things. It's good to put it out in the open and to address it. But let me get back to my story. So I was physically abused. I was verbally abused. The teachers didn't really help. My parents didn't really help. And I am not a fighter. I am a lover. I believe in love. I believe in talking things out. I do not believe in fighting back with violence. Violence, in my experience, has never solved anything. Not in my experience, not in my observations, not in what I see in the papers, not in what I have seen as a teacher in schools here in New York. So I abstain from violence, totally and completely, and I always have and I always will. So you might be asking yourself, all right, well, if Mr. Phelps endured all that pain, all that abuse, physical and verbal, then what was the aftermath? What happened as a result of that kind of psychological and physical torture? And the truth of it is that it has made me stronger. It has made me more dignified, more humane, more genuine, and more loving, ironically. You would think that after experiencing so much hate from a number of fellow students that eventually you would hate people. You'd think that's the worst of it and people aren't any good. But in truth, I recognize that there was a lot missing from their lives, that they felt for any number of reasons that they had to take out their frustration and their anger on me, and that they did not cope with their own problems, their own insecurities, their own fragile egos in a better way. And I know that I do that. I am capable of that, and I have been for a long time. And that makes me a little bit better than them in that respect. I pity them because they had to bully me in order to feel good. But I want you guys to know that if you are bullied, please do not keep it to yourself. Tell a friend, tell your parents or guardians, tell a guidance counselor, tell the dean, tell one of the security guards, tell the teachers, tell the principal, tell anybody in the main office. Because if they can help, they will. I guarantee it. In my school, that just wasn't the case. But I have worked at BSA. I know how much the faculty cares about you, the students, and I urge you, if you have ever experienced anything like that, talk to them. They know. They've been there like me. They may not have been there, but they can see it. They understand it's a problem, and they will help. And we're in the midst of Valentine's Day. We're in the midst of Black History Month. Valentine's Day is all about love. Black History Month is all about freedom. It's about progress. It's about how much the African American community has changed for the better over time since the Civil Rights Movement, and in the name of that freedom, in the name of that love, in the name of caring about one another and being able to tolerate one another, I encourage you, if you bully, please stop. Ask yourself why you do it. Maybe you don't have an answer, and if you don't, or if you do and it's something you can solve, then maybe you should try. And if you are bullied, please get help. I dealt with bouts of depression. I dealt with uh, suicide, which is difficult for me to say, but I think it's necessary to be honest. And I don't want you guys to feel like it doesn't get better. It does get better. There is no point in believing in hopelessness and despair. I guarantee you that if you really wanted to, you can get help. And I cannot tell you how important this is to me. And the time that I spent with you guys, I cared about you, and I still do. I still think about you sometimes. And I was so impressed with how much you guys cared about one another. And among the BSA student community, there were so many differences. And so many of you guys, you didn't merely tolerate one another, but you loved one another. You were friends. And that was beautiful for me to see after growing up in a high school where there was a lot of hate and there was a lot of intolerance, and I didn't understand why. So for that, I thank you. For that, I praise you. I congratulate you. And I hope that you can learn from this message. All those years of bullying did not make me a worse person. They did not make me hate myself. They did not make me do anything drastic in response. I am a better man for it. As Kanye West said a few years ago, and others before him, whatever does not kill you will only make you stronger. And believe me, all those bullying experiences, I worked with them. I molded them into something that could make me stronger, that could make me proud of who I am. And I am. I'm living the life that I wanted to live then. I'm living in New York City. I'm a teacher. I have an incredible set of friends here, and I could not be happier with my life. So please don't think that experiencing bullying will bring you down to a point of no return. It is not true, and I don't want you to believe it. Okay? Keep your head up. Stay strong. Find ways to cope, okay? Take care of yourselves and each other. And once again, I want to thank Ms. K for the opportunity to participate. I hope that my story was beneficial. I hope that my message is clear. And if you guys ever want to talk, Ms. K could forward information if it's necessary. Okay? If you have any questions, please let me know. And I look forward to helping you in any way that I can. Okay? All right. Have a good day.